Call this meeting to order. Tonight we're going to be led in the pledge by the Blackman High School National Cheerleading Champions. Woo-hoo.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we have a moment of silence, I'd like to, over the last week, we've had a couple tragedies, and I want us to remember the fallen families, if I could, in our moment of silence. We've got Hayden Alexander, 11-year-old student at John Coleman Elementary, passed away earlier this week. Jeremy McConnell from Oakland High School, student there, and also our board member, Miss Helen Blankenship, passing away, her father, this last week. And I've got one other, Alan Watts. He was a former school board member on the board there. I believe he was chairman also. So if everyone could remember these people and their families in the moment of silence. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight. This will be our last formal board meeting of this month. Next week we've got a zoning hearing next Wednesday, I believe, on the zoning for Buchanan Elementary. So I'd like to welcome everyone who's come tonight. Approval of agenda.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Blair and a second by Mr. Nipper. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, approval of consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Holliday and a second by Mr. Young. Any further discussion?
Mr. Odom pointed out last night in our work session that the consent agenda is particularly long right now, but has to do with contracts that are in need of renewal. But for the public that's watching, we did spend a good bit of time last night going through these things.
Anybody else? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. No visitors. Mr. Odom, you want to take off with number 7?
Number 7, we have the presentation of a TSBA award, the Board of Distinction Award, and I believe Mr. Stoney Crockett from Robertson County, Board Chairman, TSBA District Director, will be here. Thank you, Mr. Crockett.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Director, and members of the audience, I am Stoney Crockett, TSBA's District Director for Mid-Cumberland District, which represents Murfreesboro City Schools and also Rutherford County schools. We wish to spotlight several years ago board performance. In doing so, the Tennessee School Board Association created a Board of Distinction Award. To be recognized for this, you must set a standards of performance by each and every board member and as a board as a whole. This award is one of TSBA's most prestigious awards and celebrates the accomplishments of the board members that meets the leadership challenges that we deal with each and every day. To be designated as a board of distinction, a board must meet specific requirements. These are the key areas included in those: planning, policy, and promotion, along with board development. These areas include such elements as creating a 5-year plan, reviewing and maintaining your board policies, participating in TSBA's district and state meetings, conducting a self-evaluation, and achieving and maintaining necessary boardmanship points for each and every board member. As these requirements are extensive for this award, not every board will qualify for this. Your board is among the select few. And matter of fact, I think this is the second time as I've served as your director that I've been here. And so that's an achievement among itself to be here twice. On behalf of the Tennessee School Board Association and the Board of Directors, I am proud to present the Board of Distinction Award to Rutherford County Board of Education. I congratulate each and every one of you, and we have a nice plaque for you to display. Congratulations, sir. Thank you again. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Crockett.
Thank you, Mr. Crockett. Tell Dr. Weeks hello for me.
Well, Dr. Weeks went to Dixon County,
That's right.
so we have
Mike,
Mr. Davis from Wilson County.
yes, I know him,
Y'all are
right.
just taking a jumping from one to the other.
Okay. Okay, number 8. Mr. Hodge, I believe this is one of the better looking audiences that we've had at the school board meeting this evening. Really glad to have them with us. I'm going to ask Principal Gail Vick if you'll step to the podium, and we are recognizing tonight the Blackman High School cheerleaders. And I'll let you do the introductions, if you will, please.
Well, I'll first share the introduction that Mr. Tackett, he couldn't be here tonight, had prepared, and then I'll add my own 2 cents kind of at the end there. For the 3rd consecutive year and for the 4th time in the past 5 years, the Blackman High School football competition squad has captured the Universal Cheerleader Association National High School Cheerleading Championship. Only 10 teams in the nation have garnered such a feat since the inception of the competition in 1980. The 2014 championship was held February the 8th in Orlando, Florida. Teams qualify to attend the event through regional and state competitions. So Blackman qualified by winning the 7th TSSAA state championship in November. I can just add, as I want to introduce, and I'll have them come up as I'm talking, head coach Heather Wortman and assistant coach Courtney Gregory. And I'd just like to say about this team and these 2 coaches, I have a lot of experience with the cheerleading squad because my son had the privilege to participate and be on the team, the first squad that won in 2011. And I got to watch the hard work, the hours and hours of work, and the skill that these 2 ladies require of them in order to make the squad, in order to compete and win the competitions that they have. And as a result, many of these student athletes, including my son, which I'm awfully proud of, have been able to go to 4-year universities and own full tuition scholarships as student athletes. So that's been really nice for my family. But it's also just such a credit to these 2 ladies, the skills that they teach these young men and women. And I'm exceptionally proud of this team and your accomplishment this year. So at this time, I'll turn it over to the coaches to introduce the team.
Thank you, Ms. Vick. You guys
Y'all come up and bring your hardware.
You can go home and watch yourself on television a little bit later. That's great.
Maybe we do like 2 rows, yeah. Like 2 little rows, yeah. Words cannot express how grateful we are to be recognized here today for the accomplishments these young athletes have made. We have had an amazing year winning state champions and national champions. These awards have encouraged our team as well as promoted school spirit within our school and our community. This elite squad standing before you today has worked incredibly hard while maintaining a high level of academic performance. When you're a successful competitive team, it's easy for others to think that is your only focus. As coaches of Blackman High School, we believe we're raising good people first and cheerleaders second, and as coaches we strive to keep that focus.
These young men and women are very dedicated to Blackman High School cheerleading. They spend hours doing community service throughout the year, cheering football games and pep rallies, attending competitions, and many countless hours of practice. They truly are student athletes. Many of our graduating seniors continue to go on and compete at the collegiate level. We are very proud of their accomplishments and look forward to what they will do in the future. Although ever so humbled and extremely appreciative of the honors bestowed upon our team, our squad will continuously strive to maintain a level of excellence both in and out of the classroom. Again, we are so honored to be recognized, and thank you.
I'm just going to very quickly introduce each one of them, so if you guys could just kind of wave when I say your name. Chesley Bowman, Hannah Claire Candlish, Brandy Dunn, Christy Fortune, Chelsea Graham, Sarah Wiley Helton, Shelby Hughes, Christina Caubaugh, Sarah Lane, Megan McGuire, Michaela McKay, Tessa McKinnon, Nicole Pope, Chloe Scott, Morgan Self, Corinne Schuler, Reagan Sweeney, Hannah Van Vorst, Alexandra Vongsampan, Lauren Williamson, Risa Witherow, Amber Yanity, and our gentleman Patrick Holtz, Jacob Lassiter, Caesar Vaccarano, Luke Plunkett, and Caleb Singleton, who couldn't be with us tonight.
I really do not know of any other competition we've had. 3 national championships in a row and 4 out of the last 5. You know, I actually saw some of you the other day. I went to Stewart's Creek Middle School, and there was an academic pep rally. And so I watched you do that. I came home and I told my wife, I said, watching the Blackman cheerleaders is kind of like a 3-ring circus, because and here's why. Because typically when in cheerleading you'll see everybody doing the same cheer together. Some of you were tumbling, some of you were doing handstands, some of you were doing all these other things at the same time. And so I was very much impressed. And you must have had some influence on the basketball too, because the Blackman High School boys and girls won the district championship last week. So thank you for all that you do.
Mr. Odom, I had one question from one of the young ladies, and she asked, who on this group here can let them out of school?
I'm the one to blame. Thank you for sharing with us tonight. Thank you, Ms. Vick, very much. I do want to say, too, while we were talking about the athletics and the district tournament, I also want to thank Siegel High School for serving as the host for that district tournament. It was really outstanding, and that Principal Jason Bridgman and Ricky Parker, Greg Wyatt that did that and organized the district championship. So it was a good week for Rutherford County.
Anybody else? Number 9.
Number 9 is our spotlight on education, and we have tonight a lady who has devoted, I know, several years to health and things for the children of Rutherford County City and Rutherford County schools. Miss Farrell, Kathy Farrell, Middle Tennessee, the Mobile Health Outreach Coordinator at St. Thomas Rutherford Hospital. Thank you, Miss Kathy, for coming tonight.
Thank you so much, Mr. Odom and board members, and that is quite a title and quite a lengthy name for the hospital now that we don't get to use the acronym as much or the abbreviation. I, number one, want to say thank you all so much for your support and for allowing us to do what we do on campuses. Really, for us as a not-for-profit, faith-based health ministry, the mobile health unit is an outward symbol of what we do inside that hospital every day, and the schools are such a natural opportunity for us to reach some of our most vulnerable neighbors. We've got some great pictures up here because you all have been with us throughout this journey. We are on different school campuses, both in the city and in the county, but we also go out into the community, different neighborhoods and different nonprofits and homeless shelters across Rutherford County. This happens to be a picture of the old unit, along with a borrowed unit from Nashville. You all were such a strong supporter of ours. About a year and a half ago, ago, Mr. Ferguson encouraged our team to go to the Christy Houston Foundation and led that charge, and we were able to share a proposal with them for a replacement unit. The one on the left was ours at the time, and you all endorsed that and helped us with a letter of support, and I'm happy to say a year and a half ago they funded that. We were able to build it from the ground up. This is it on July the 15th of this past summer, so big difference between those two units, but so happy. We were so thrilled to serve on the old one, but now we really feel like we're able to serve people the way that we need to, in a unit that's reliable, in a unit that doesn't break down, with some amazing staff. Those are two of my EMTs. We have commercial driver's license folks that are also EMTs. And so they assist when we're doing any type of screening, which is wonderful. And I'll be very honest with you, when we're on school campuses, we try to go in as time allows and eat lunch with the kids, just in random locations at random tables. And it is fantastic to have 4 men who are dads, who are great, with children in different buildings. And I think the teachers and the administration and the children all appreciate that. Wanted to share with you very quickly, so this started in March of 2010 as a partnership actually just with Murfreesboro City Schools and at the time Middle Tennessee Medical Center and that old unit and a party of one, and ended up driving that unit and staffing it by myself, and you all feel free to laugh because it was funny. My husband doesn't think so, but it was. In the first year we served 1,603 individuals just in that first year alone. The second year, and I love to work with Sarah Delbridge, she is fantastic. Everybody in the county school system is, but at the time Liz Graves was the director of nursing and Mr. Gill was the superintendent or director of schools, and so the two of them really led that charge for us to expand to the county, and I'm so grateful that they did. My husband and I are products of Rutherford County Schools. All 3 of our children are currently students in Rutherford County School System, so we're so thrilled to be able to serve the children and the families of this district that's been so good to us, my family. Year 2, 3,298 individuals. Year 3, 7,664. And I only have the first 2 quarters of this fiscal year, 5,872. Individuals have been touched in one way or another by the mobile health unit. And I feel like with the school system, we're so appreciative of the partnership that we have because we feel like we're able to support that the work that you all do. Sometimes we are, maybe Sarah or one of her nurses will refer a student to us that's from out of state. Maybe they were on that state's Medicaid, their version of TennCare. Well, they don't have insurance here yet. Don't have any money, but that student needs immunizations and that student needs a physical. So we do work with the health department, but they're overwhelmed, honestly. And sometimes transportation is a barrier for those families to receive those services. So they refer those families to us, and we're their first touch. We're their first experience with Rutherford County. So to be able to say from firsthand experience, we're so happy to take care of you today, but this is where you're going to go to school. We love the principal. We love the teachers. Your child is in good hands. We're hopeful that we're able to get that student into school very quickly, but also be able to really start to lift up that family and boost that relationship with you all as well. So we're just grateful. Do you all have any questions for me at all?
I just know you worked tirelessly to accomplish this. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you all's support very much.
Ms. Farrell?
Yes.
As you move forward and you look to the horizon, what is next? The new unit is in place, but is there a new goal that we can help you achieve?
I think for us, the 2 greatest unmet needs in terms of health care for folks that are underserved or uninsured, vision and dental. So that's where we're focused. Coley & Coley has been a great vision partner for us. They actually purchased a piece of equipment and sent some staff members with us, and we do free screenings on a monthly basis with them, really for adults and children. And they've been able to secure some vouchers, which equals a free eye exam to optometrists that will take that, and then based on that need, a free prescription for eyeglasses. That is amazing. That's an amazing resource for folks that don't have any other access. Dental is the next thing. I mean, Sarah would say, I'm not a clinical person, but I've learned enough in the past 4 years, your oral health really impacts your entire physical health. If I'm a child and I have an abscessed tooth and I'm hurting, I'm focusing on nothing. And if my parents don't have an opportunity to have that taken care of, I don't have a resource, that impacts me personally, but it impacts their performance at school. and that entire classroom's performance at school, I would argue. So that's our next. How do we harness what we've done? The health department, again, has been a great partner, even from a pediatric dental perspective, but how do we kind of bring that resource to bear in the community as well? So that was a great question.
Have you have you had the opportunity to approach the Lions Club about the site initiative?
They are fantastic. The Lions Club steps in Laverne, Smyrna, and Murfreesboro, and they supply glasses to us for our medical mission events that we do as a hospital system. But then, absolutely, I know they're great with the nurses and the guidance counselors, and they're a great resource for us as well.
I'd like to remind you that Eagleville also.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's where I taught. How could I have forgotten Eagleville? So, anybody else? So, thank you all very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Number 10.
Number 10 is old business. This is the Square for credit card payments. Eagleville School has requested permission to pilot the use of Square credit card devices so that credit cards can be used for payments at athletic events and the plant sale. The plant sale in spring athletics will allow evaluation of the devices before football starts. These devices are the small Square credit card readers that can be attached to an iPhone or an iPad. Required operation and accounting process for Square credit card pilot program at Eagleville. We asked Mr. Sandvik and others in accounting to establish protocol for using them, and this is what is recommended. Only Rutherford County Board of Education or school-owned iPods or iPhones will be used with the Square credit card devices. Number 2, only Board of Education employees will process Square credit card purchases. Number 3, ticket reconciliation will follow the state school accounting manual, and a separate ticket reconciliation form will be used for credit card ticket sales. A separate roll of tickets will be used for Square credit card purchases. Number 5, the school will perform a timely reconciliation of credit card deposits to reports. Number 6, gross revenues must be recorded. The credit card processing fees will be recorded as a separate expenditure. Chargebacks will be evaluated. If they become a problem, we will look at the use of a second bank account for both the credit card payments and any related chargebacks. And number 8, the time frame for the pilot is spring activities through the 2014-2015 basketball season. Our auditors have approved this pilot. The charge for the service is 2.75% for each transaction. Recommend approval. The motion is to approve Eagleville School's pilot use of Square credit card devices through the 2014-2015 basketball season and to approve the operational and accounting process for Square credit card use so that the credit cards can be used for payments to athletic events and the plant sale as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Blair and a second by Ms. Blankenship. Any further discussion? Mr.
Chairman,
Caldwell?
I'd like to point out that a month ago or about that time frame, this proposal came to the board, and in no small part because of an email of an individual citizen that was sent to the board members. We took notice of this, we paused, and we have a much better plan in place now with some excellent guidelines. The statement in here that our auditors have taken a look at this and approved this is just an outstanding policy. This is a good pilot program, it's good policy, and we're moving in the right direction. But I really want to take note of the fact when a lot of people might say that they can't make a difference or they can't actually do anything. It was in no small part because of an email of one individual that came to each of the board members that caused us to pause and take a careful look at this, and we've made this better.
Anybody else? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 11 and 12, they'll go hand in hand. Everybody knows, I guess. Surely everybody can remember one night or one day ago where we had a pretty good discussion last night in regards to legislation going on in Nashville, how it's affecting us or could have an effect on us, and before we get in, the board asked Mr. Reed to do some resolutions on some things we've got disagreements on. But before we do that, I'm gonna let any board members make any comments. But before, I want to hear from our Tennessee legislative person, Mr. Blair, first, and then Mr. Holliday. He's on the federal level. So, if y'all have any comments.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. I jotted some statements and a couple of questions down that I thought maybe I could share with the board, and I apologize that I'm going to read them, but this is an important step or situation and issues that we're dealing with right now. And just some things that we know is that Rutherford County Schools and Tennessee Public Schools as a whole has steadily improved over the last 5 years, as noted by Nate. Companies and industries come to Rutherford County, at least in part, because of our education system. And even though the changes to the education playing field the changes have been numerous, from legislation to differentiated pay, teacher evaluation, and academic rigor, our administrators and teachers continue to work for the betterment and improvement of our students, even though, as you noted last night, Mr. Holliday, that Rutherford County spends $1,200 less per student than the state average. And a couple of questions that I have is, why would anyone want to impede or stop this ongoing progress? And why would out-of-state entities spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to influence education legislation in Tennessee? And I think the only answer or phrase is for profit. With what we're doing tonight, Mr. Chairman, with the resolution, I'd like to remind this board, which I already know you know, but to say it publicly, that it is our responsibility as a board to lead a call for advocacy to our parents, stakeholders, and employees. We need to let our voices be heard that we support and appreciate public education.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Mr. Holliday?
From the federal perspective, we combine the resources in an even larger pool. And it was pointed out to us in some of the meetings that we've been to that we think of Walmart as an incredibly influential entity in the world today. Over 1.4 million employees for Walmart. And then you think about the federal government that has over 4.4 million employees. Well, public education has over 6.2 million employees collectively. And there is an initiative going on, and it is occurring in our state legislature to privatize and profit on public education. That is a clear attack on what we hold dear and a level playing field that we are unique in the world to offer to every child. We are compared to a lot of different educational systems around the world, but we are unique in that we educate every child, no matter what their disability or what their high accomplishment. They go or have the opportunity to go to the same public school and receive a high-level education. It is absolutely to our credit. On a federal level, I have to report and say again to you, the emphasis at the federal conference that I attended was an understanding of the inaction of the Senate specifically to schedule a vote for the reauthorization of the ESEA Act is inhibiting our effort to move forward in education. And what it is rendering is it's rendering the Department of Education to be the sole negotiator of what the rules and funding stipulations will be for federal dollars. And that is the waiver system. We hear about the governor went and negotiated with the Secretary of Education and we have a waiver. That's an individual negotiation that puts an inappropriate amount of influence in the Department of Education. We need the Department of Education for the United States of America. There are times when we're 50 states and there are times when we're one nation. And when we're talking about every child should have a good meal when they want to be educated and they need to learn, that's when we can join together and we can accomplish that, and those federal dollars work to that. But when we're talking about the individual way that we connect to our citizens and the culture in our community, that is local control. We are doing an outstanding job of that here in Rutherford County. I made mention of the statistic that the Gallup organization came and presented in Washington, D.C. They said that 17% of public schools are viewed by the general public as being successful. The general public, 17% of the general public says public schools are successful. However, if you ask them about their particular school, 71% say their school is just fine. That is a misinterpretation of what public school is accomplishing. It is a misperception of what public schools are and the quality that they offer to the United States of America. We're going to change that. I mentioned that through the leadership of Tennessean David Pickler, who is currently serving as the National School Board Association president, we are launching a nationwide advocacy campaign, and we've got these bracelets that the school board members have all gotten. I use my bracelet, and I've got one from the National Board, and then I've got one from the Tennessee School Board Association. I use my bracelet to ask myself, what have I done today to tell somebody that public education is the right choice? Every day. What have I done today to do that? Have I sent a tweet out? Have I sent an email? Have I texted a legislator? Because we've got their cell phone numbers and we can remind them. There was an individual from Rhode Island who had served on his board for 18 years. He said, I do not care if my congressman knows my name, but when he passes me, I want him to recognize that I'm the face of education. When he wants to know how to get the information about education, he should come ask me. That's what we've got to be. We've got to be more active. It's time for us to stand up and make our voices heard. We've done an outstanding job in Rutherford County, and it's not inappropriate for us to ask our state legislators to represent the outstanding performance of Rutherford County and continue in the right direction, as opposed to heading into a direction that is unproven and ineffective.
Any other board members?
May I
Robert?
say one thing?
Yes, sir.
You know, and this concerns me too. And around me up here, they can't say this so much, but they received the Board of Distinction Award tonight. Back in November, you were recognized as the Tennessee, out of the 130-something districts, as the Tennessee School Board of the Year. Day in, day out, week in, week out. You look at the needs of Rutherford County. You look at how we perform. As Mr. Blair said, it's over $1,200 per student less than the state average that we're spending. You're efficient. You're effective. One of the pieces of legislation that bothers me the most is one that would turn the power of much of this over to the Commissioner of Education. Now, we complain about what Washington telling Tennessee what to do. I honestly do not see a big difference in Nashville telling Rutherford County what to do. When you're elected independently by your constituents in this county that you have to answer to, why would we put it somewhere else? So for the like of me, something is not right in some of the legislation, some of the moves that we're seeing. And our public needs to know that and speak to their legislators about that.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
I'd like to add one thing, Chairman. Mr. Odom, you always point out focuses on the kids. It's all about kids, the reason we're here. And I like to, everybody be reminded of that. We are here to focus on the kids. And to think that we're mixing profits over education, it's not acceptable. So we do need to be contacting our legislatures. I know most of you here have, and we need to continue doing that. And I challenge the audience to do the same thing.
Well, in regards to that, Mr. Young, we're going to contact them with some resolutions here in just a minute, and we'll see if we get a response back. As I mentioned last night, the biggest thing that disturbs me, and I feel strongly about it, we've got excellent staff out here. We've got a director that is full of knowledge, and it's sad. The director's sitting there. You can ask him. How many of them actually come see him to find out what's going on with education? And I think you're going to find the answer is pretty well zero. I think he spoke to a couple of them last year. One of them was on my behalf, telling me he needs to go talk to Mr. Odom, and I think another one followed suit after that. But you got so many bills that are going on, so much legislation going on down there that, as most of us know, it doesn't make a lick of sense. Some of it doesn't make a lick of sense, and where they're coming from is beyond me. But it really disturbs me that we got legislators down there that won't talk or won't come out here and get advice in their own backyard. So I don't know where we go from here other than we're going to send these resolutions. Anyone wants to make contact with them, I encourage you to do it. So this time, Mr. Reed, if I could call on you to go over what you've worked up.
Yeah, with regard to the resolutions, as the board has expressed, there are very real threats to the public education system that, you know, probably citizens and voters of Rutherford County always just take for granted, as most people do. You think is always going to be there, and this will be a system always available for our children that we'll be able to use for years to come, when in fact, from a legislative standpoint, on both the national level and the state level, there's a real move afoot by a number of nonprofit organizations and for-profit businesses to try to get a piece of the pie, and to take some of the government funds that are usually available and would normally be available for the public school system for their own personal use and for the benefit of their companies and their nonprofit organizations. It's a real movement afoot. It's not just here in Tennessee, it's throughout the nation. And certainly it has impacted Tennessee, and we see that even in Nashville today by the lobbyists. And you've seen, like last year, you saw a number of television ads on TV promoting charter schools and other issues like that. And those are oftentimes out-of-state companies funding hundreds of thousands of dollars into this state to influence legislation and the education system of our state. And what other motive, you have to ask yourself, would these companies and out-of-state organizations have with regard to education in Tennessee where they're not even located? So I think the question answers itself in that regard. And if you're involved with education today, it's a very real threat, and something we as board members and people involved in the school system are very well aware of, but probably people on the street and people who aren't involved with education on a daily basis don't see in their daily life. But the threat is real. It's probably the largest threat, as many people have expressed, that they've seen in their lifetime, to the public education system. And it may change the very fabric of what we know as schools. So we've always prided ourselves on a nation that provided free, appropriate public education for all our children. And that's something that the school systems in Tennessee and the school boards of Tennessee have aimed to protect and defend for many years. And in light of what's going on legislatively, have really taken up the torch and really the last bastion to try to protect and defend the education system we have is with the boards of education, because they're the ones who understand what's going on and manage the school system on a day-to-day basis and can see from a first-hand standpoint, what's going on with respect from these outside organizations trying to influence the school systems throughout the nation. But with that in mind, we have the resolution the board asked us to work up. I have one for the board's consideration, and it hits the points raised by the board members. But it says, whereas Rutherford County schools are not for sale, and whereas a number of bills are being advanced before the state of Tennessee's legislature by private lobbyists and for-profit companies aimed at privatizing the state of Tennessee's free public education system, and whereas a number of out-of-state companies and alleged nonprofit organizations are lobbying our state representatives and our state senators to obtain funds from the public education system to benefit their private companies and organizations. And whereas governmental decisions are best made on the local level and not by big central state government. And whereas paid lobbyists are lobbying our state representatives and our state senators to propose and vote for legislation seeking to move the state of Tennessee in the direction of allowing private companies and organizations to take control of our state's free public education system. And whereas many of these companies and organizations are out-of-state companies and organizations who are spending significant sums of money to advance their agenda through television advertising and lobbying. And whereas the public education system of Tennessee is best managed by Tennesseans for which it serves and not by out-of-state companies and organizations. And whereas paid lobbyists routinely appear before state of Tennessee legislative committees seeking to advance the causes of their private companies and organizations. And whereas the taxpayers of the state of Tennessee do not have any lobbyists to protect the interests of Tennesseans in the state's free public education system. And whereas House Bill 2293 seeks to restrict the ability of boards of education across the state of Tennessee to provide information and communication to the state legislatures and the legislative committees regarding education-related matters. And whereas legislation has also been introduced seeking to enlarge state government's control, central control, over local school systems and remove decisions from locally elected boards of education to appointed state of Tennessee officials in Nashville. And whereas local boards of education who are familiar with our local area, demographics, schools, citizens, and employees are able to make better decisions utilizing their taxpayers' dollars than state-appointed officials. And whereas Rutherford County continues to have one of the highest achieving school systems in Tennessee, and proposed legislation is threatening that school system. And whereas the success of the Rutherford County school system is one of the primary factors attracting new employment and businesses to Rutherford County and growing the Rutherford County economy. And whereas this proposed legislation also threatens the economic future of Rutherford County, now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Education. Number one, the Rutherford County Board of Education opposes House Bill 2293, seeking to limit boards of education ability to participate in legislation affecting the public school system. Number two, the Rutherford County Board of Education opposes House Bill 2250, seeking to restrict local boards of education's ability to control its own budget. Number three, the Rutherford County Board of Education opposes Senate Bill 0677, seeking to vest certain control over local Board of Education matters to the state of Tennessee's appointed Commissioner of Education. That is the proposed resolution.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Reed?
Just think it's very well written, and the first sentence, Rutherford County schools are not for sale. I think that says it all. Thank you, Mr. Reed.
I want to also echo that as this goes out, if the board pleases to adopt this resolution, and I hope that we will, we may publicize this and get the word out somewhat. And when we do, the response is going to be, don't worry, it's not going to affect you in Rutherford County because you have good schools there in Rutherford County. This is for failing schools elsewhere. And I just want to be clear that those policies that may be well intended for failing schools are still opening the door to access to privatization and profitization of public schools, and it will not stop at the failing schools. That's why we have to act. That's why we have to step up. Not because our schools are somehow in jeopardy, because it may not affect us in day one, year one, but it will come, and we have to work on this. There are other ways to fix those problem areas. We're not denying that there are areas where we need to work on public education. There are places we can improve, and we're going to do that. But this is not the right way. Privatizing and saying survival of the fittest, the capitalist market is the way to educate children. That is not the way to educate children, because survival of the fittest is not what it's about. Every child is important.
Are you ready for a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I move to approve sending the resolution to our delegate assembly.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Blair and a second by Mr. Eakes. Any further discussion?
Just appreciate you, Mr. Chairman, and your leadership. Mr. Holliday, your thoughts, and Mr. Reed, thank you. Very, very well written and covered our topics and our concerns. Thank you.
Let me suggest that, I know I see the chairman's name alone down there. Let's put all of our names down there with the chairman. Would that be appropriate to all of you?
Fine. Anybody else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Reed. Number 13, Mr. Owen.
Item number 13 is courses offered for credit in grades 9 through 12. The Board of Education Policy 4.201 states in part, a listing of courses offered for credit in grades 9 through 12 will be approved annually by the board. Recommend approval. Motion to approve the list of courses for credit in Rutherford County grades 9 through 12 for the 2014-2015 year as presented.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Holliday, second by Mr. Blair. Any further discussion on this?
If you go to the tab and look at the individual courses, from time to time there will be those who come before the board and suggest that we may not be teaching the right things or traditional values. I'm once again pleased to see not only is a course in Bible currently being taught in Rutherford County schools, but it will continue to be so.
Anybody else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 14.
14 is summer school grades 6 through 12. The instruction department is requesting approval for the 2014 summer school calendar. Plans are for middle and high school course offerings. Middle school sites will be Laverne Middle and Oakland Middle, and the high school site will be Blackman High. Middle school and high school offerings will be available during the first semester from June the 2nd through June the 26th, 2014. The high school only second semester is scheduled from June 30th through July 25th, 2014. Transportation services are not provided. Tuition will remain at $100 for the middle school, $100 per 1/2 credit for high school, and $200 for driver education. Recommend approval. Motion to approve the instruction department's request for the summer school sites and calendar as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Eakes, second by Ms. Blankenship. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Ms. Vick, are you working this summer?
Number 15.
15 is facilities, and this is Oakland High School softball training building. Mr. Bill Spurlock has submitted a request from the Oakland High School Softball Booster Club to construct a softball training facility on his campus. The 60 feet by 100 feet by 14 feet building will consist of a pre-engineered metal building constructed on a concrete slab with exterior to match existing buildings. The building will be constructed at no cost to the Rutherford County School Board and funded by the Oakland High School Softball Booster Club. The Booster Club will be responsible for compliance with all codes and for the purchase of all building permits. Rutherford County Schools Engineering Department has been involved with this project from the beginning and sees no conflicts. There is also no gender equity issues. Recommend approval. Motion to approve construction of softball training facility at Oakland High School as presented at no cost to the Rutherford County School Board.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Nipper and a second by Mr. Young. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Does
Number-
Oakland
B.
have any square inch left?
Have to stay out of the floodplain, won't we?
B.
B is the Stewart's Creek Middle School Soccer Storage Building. Mr. Creasy, principal of Stewart's Creek Middle School, has requested permission to construct a metal storage building at the end of the soccer field inside the fence. The building will be a 20 feet by 28 feet metal structure on the concrete slab and house soccer equipment constructed of a color that matches other on-site school facilities. Stewart's Creek High School and Stewart's Creek Middle School will share the cost of the building, and there will be no cost to the Rutherford County School Board. There is no gender equity issue. Recommend approval. Motion to approve the construction of a 20 feet by 28 foot metal storage building at Stewart's Creek School Complex at the soccer field as presented at no cost to the Rutherford County School Board.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Blair and a second by Mr. Holliday. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. C.
C is the Rutherford County Schools Building Program. Recommend approval. Motion to authorize the Director of Schools to take the adjusted 2-year building program to the Health and Education Committee's next meeting. And that was the sheet last night that you were given it in Health and Ed will actually be next Tuesday evening.
You've heard the motion.
So moved.
Second.
Which one, Ms. Michaels? Who's second?
Ms. Blankenship.
All right. Motion by Mr. Holliday,
Yes.
second by Ms. Blankenship. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 16.
16 is financial matters. It's a teacher retirement update. I'll be glad to read this again if you'd like. We did last night, but we spent considerable time doing that. Plan A, for those that might be watching us or following it online, is a teacher retirement update, and that is mandated by Tennessee Retirement System. So this board does not have any power over that. It's more information for you in our process for dealing with it. Plan B is the VALIC 457B plan. And so this one is one where we can look at between the 401k, the 403B, because of some limiting contributions of $17,500 for employees under 50 and $23,000 for employees over 50. This is where the teachers or employees contribute part of that to their own retirement. We're asking, I think, to include the new plan, and we'll go to the motion at the bottom we discussed last evening. Recommend approval. Motion to approve the addition of the 457B supplemental retirement savings to our VALIC supplemental retirement plan as presented.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Young and a second by Mr. Blair. Any further discussion, Mr.
Will,
Blair?
will most of the information be through email or through a regular mailing as far as eligibility and changes?
We'll probably send an email.
Good.
And I have thought in terms of particularly those employees who are contributing close to the limit, making sure we got in touch with them.
Anybody else?
And then the new teachers will learn about it in their orientation.
Okay.
Anyone else? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. C.
C is really for our classified employees, and that decision of what to be used will be made by the Rutherford County Commission. As we discussed it last evening, I think that your decision was we would like to tell them what we think would be best for our classified employees, and would like to recommend that to them. And so that motion was added after last evening, and it's recommend approval. Motion to approve the Rutherford County Board of Education recommends to the Rutherford County Commission that the Legacy TCRS retirement plan be adopted for Rutherford County Schools full-time classified employees hired after June 30th, 2014, with these employees contributing 2.5% of their pay towards retirement and having a 10-year vesting period if the Commission decides to make a change from the current retirement options. And I think we did some checking today, And if you approve this, we will take this to the steering committee, right? Mr. Sandy was what the mayor and all suggested.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Blair and a second by Ms. Blankenship. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 17.
17 is the proposed Rutherford County Schools 2015-2016 academic calendar. A lot of our parents have to book vacation well ahead, and so this allows them to do that. As I said last night, there's some details missing, like which days would be PLC days and all, because we do not have the state's testing calendar for that year. But this does designate when schools start, when schools end, when our spring break and fall break and all will be scheduled so that people can plan. So it is a recommended approval, motion to approve Rutherford County Schools 2015-2016 academic calendar as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Holliday and a second by Mr. Eakes. Any further discussion on this? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 18.
Number 18 is new and revised policies, and this is the adoption of policy 6.413, which is the prevention and treatment of sports-related concussions. The purpose of adoption of this policy is the district is required by state law to implement a policy regarding prevention and treatment of sports-related concussions. There are two motions. The first one is recommend approval. The motion to waive the second reading and second meeting limitation to allow the board to take immediate action on the new policy as presented. I guess I better stop till we get that one done.
Move to approve and waive the second reading.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Holliday and a second by Mr. Blair. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And the
Adoption.
other part is recommend approval. The motion is to approve the adoption of policy 6.413 as recommended by the policy committee.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Nipper, second by Mr. Holliday. Any further discussion? I just got one comment, I guess, to Ms. McLeod. You and Mr. Tackett, I guess, will be getting this to the coaches fairly quickly. For the,
He already has packets ready to go.
okay, good. I know we've got the practices and all that coming up. Well, not only football, but everything. So, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 19, general discussion.
Mr. Chairman, we've had an extra full agenda tonight, but I think it's worth pointing out that we've seen community collaboration with the St. Thomas Mobile Health Unit that is just a wonderful statement about the character of our community and the collaboration that is there among people that are all pulling in the same direction. We've talked about some real issues that our community needs to be aware of, and we hope that we can motivate our community to take an interest in the legislation that is pending and contact the people that we've elected to represent us from Rutherford County. In addition to that, we celebrated not a regional championship or a state championship, but a national championship among our extracurricular activities, and that's certainly an indication that we continue to be moving from a perspective not just one of the finest school systems in the state of Tennessee, but one of the finest school systems in the nation here in Rutherford County. That's a vision and a passion of mine to move our perspective to that, and there's an indication that we're right on track. And finally, we've got recommendations to our county commission, our funding body. We've got recommendations for long-range planning to our Health and Education Committee about our building program. It is so wonderful to have a good working relationship with our funding body and a collaboration with them to succeed the way we have. As we've talked about the state of our school system and such, sometimes we speak of building 10 schools in the past 10 years, and goodness sakes, what would we have done if we hadn't? the increase in students. Mr. Odom shared with us last night, we thought maybe we were adding 1,000 students this year. No, I think the number is 1,100. No, 5 months in, we're over 1,200 students additional in Rutherford County schools. The population is certainly coming to our school system, and we're going to be ready. We can't accomplish any of that without taking care of our classified staff, taking care of our teachers, our faculty that are in front of the students, and not because we do such a good job of taking care of them in salary and benefits, but because they have a heart for education. They have a heart for our community and for the children that are in their classrooms. I want to say thank you to them and also to the administrators that lead them.
Well,
It just, you know, the resolution has means so much to us because it defines all the things that we want to do and the threat that's against us now. And if there was a time, you know, for a call of arms for the public school system, it is today. And I pray that with all that's been said here tonight and with the resolution and the comments that we've all made, that everybody in this room, that everybody that watches this meeting will let their voice be heard. If they have an opinion otherwise, let your voice be heard. But if you support, if you're grateful for what the public school system has done for you, for your children, for your families in the past and your families in the future, it's time to stand up and be heard and support public education.
Anybody else?
You've got several people here from Leadership Rutherford you may want to mention tonight before you leave.
Yeah. We've got several visitors with us from Leadership Rutherford tonight. Glad you joined us and invite you to come back anytime. To be honest with you, most of the meetings aren't this long. We just had a little, as you heard, a little extra business we had to try to deal with tonight. So,
Mr. Chairman, most of them got my autograph too.
I don't know if that'd be good or bad.
We won't go there, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments? I want to remind everybody that we got the zoning meeting Wednesday night, 5:30. I guess bring your listening ears. Everybody got the packet last night from comments. We will, as we said at the meeting, normally we don't, but I think this time we will allow them to speak. Some of them didn't get to speak. I know one gentleman I spoke to at the end of the meeting, I missed him, I guess. I don't know where he was at, but anyhow, he wanted to speak, so I told him, come when we have the zoning meeting, I'll let him speak first. So if he shows up, he'll be first. So,
Yes, sir.
I don't know what Mr. Oldham and I discussed it a while ago. I don't know if we'd do speakers before or we'd do board discussion first, which may take care of some of the speaking, what decisions the board may make. So we'll decide that between now and Wednesday on that. So anything further? Hope everyone has a good weekend, and we'll see you. Mr. Nipper?
Yeah, Saturday. Remember Saturday morning.
I appreciate that, Mr. Nipper, at 8:30 out here to the general public. We're looking for land. I guess you could say we're in need of land. We're in need of schools. Before we can have a school, we need the land. So Saturday morning, we're going to take I don't know where we're going, where Mr. Carty takes us. See what we can find. So I appreciate that, Mr. Nipper. Anything else? We're adjourned.